Hey, this is Hank with Rattlesnake Cable Company, and I'm here to talk about headphone extension cables, why you need them, and what they're good for. Headphone extension cables are great to have in your road case, especially when you go to the recording studio or maybe a rehearsal space. They are great because oftentimes when you have headphones, you might find them too short. So if you're plugging right into an interface or into a headphone amp, it might be 6 feet or 10 feet, but your amp is 20 feet away. It'd be nice to have a little extra length, and that's what these are for. A lot of studios, especially small private studios, home studios, they might have headphone extension cables, but the quality has always been sus, always have issues with intermittent breakup and the plugs popping out of the female jack. And that is why these headphone extension cables are a great cable to have in your studio. For one, this female Neutrik plug is a locking plug. So when you plug in your headphone into this, it clicks and locks, and you have to use this lever to undo it. So I'm not sure if you've had those cheaper kind of headphone cables where you just give a tug and they fly off, or you do the little trick where you're kind of tying them up in a knot. Not great. And these solve that problem. And the fact that we have our heavy duty dual conductor cable, these are durable, roll over them with your amps or your studio chair, whatever, these will hold up over time. So a million years ago, I used to own a recording studio, and we had a lot of these headphone extension cables all over the place. I mean, these are, I don't know, that's probably a 20-footer. These were a pain in the butt. They constantly cut in and out. This was a big culprit. We used to do little tricks where we used to loop it through and then make a knot like this and have that go in like this. The thin cable was always an issue. These plugs would always break, especially this female plug was always an issue. And I kind of want to illustrate like the difference between a cable like this and our cable and the benefits of that. So right off the bat, you can tell the thickness difference. Now, the thickness is an interesting thing to consider. A lot of people are always asking, like, why are cables expensive? Why are some cables $5? Why are some cables very expensive? When you start looking at what adds expense to a cable, it's the copper. So this is already telling you this is a dual conductor, but it's going to have a hair for a conductor for left and right coming down this thing. It's going to be very thinly shielded, and because of that, it's a cheap cable. And by keeping it thin, you can sit there and cut costs on copper. So now ours, we have dual 20 gauge conductors in it. It's got a very robust braided shield on the inside of it, thick PVC. A lot more copper. I mean, you can just feel the weight between these two. One's heavy, one's super light. And those are kind of factors to consider when you're talking about getting a cable. What's in there? It's not just magic, right? So it's all about the copper, the quality of copper, and the build construction. And the ideas of like this cheap cable here doesn't have a locking mechanism. Anything can pop out of that. You always lose those contacts, things bend. So this is a good reason to have one of these cables. So I have a road case that has all my cables, speaker cable, my 20-foot standards, snake heads, backup patches, some jumper cables, but I also carry one of these in my road case. So you never know when you're gonna, have a recording opportunity, go to a home studio, even going to a professional studio, and suddenly you find that their headphone setup is limited as far as length. And I always want to have one of these just in case I'm 20 feet away and I want to be by my amp, or my amp's way over there and I want to be way over here and the headphone amp's over there. Have one of these, it's great. It's not just for studio owners to have a headphone extension cable. It's great as a musician just to be able to have this. If you're a session person, these would be great to have just in case. If you just need one more, or one breaks in the studio, you have one of these great cables. So this is a stereo setup for an extension cable. So yeah, TRS straight plug, we got TRS female, but these can be wired to be mono, and so can this side. And what this give you is an extension mono cable optionally. So we've had situations where a guitar player wanted to have a longer run occasionally. So we made an extension cable. A junction box could do a similar thing, but this is an all-in-one situation. So that guitarist wanted to have an extension cable when he played large stages in an arena type event, and he just wanted 20 more feet just in case. Instead of having a 40-foot snake head, he wanted to have one of these. So he just plugged into it. This was wired mono plug on it. That's a great example of an extension cable for length. We've done extension cables for wireless transmitters for short little runs, going from the guitar to a female, which then would have a patch that would go to a wireless transmitter pack. Sometimes plugs don't play nice with certain types of guitars and wireless systems, so that was an option. And with TRS, with our headphone extension cable, well, at the same time, that's technically, depending on what kind of signal is being passed down, this could be a balanced cable. So this could be a balanced extension cable too. So let's just say you had a powered monitor, needed a balanced line, and you were too short. You had a 10-footer, but you needed to go 25 feet. You could have one of these, and this would be a balanced line to that monitor. So there's a lot of thinking outside the box. There are different applications with this kind of setup. So if you're interested in our headphone extension cable or instrument extension cable, you just head on over to the site, go to products, cables, and scroll down. You'll see headphone extension cable and instrument extension cable. You get to pick your length. You can have a right angle 1/4 inch on here or a straight, and yeah, then you're good to go.